Let's shift our focus to a form of compensation that comes into play when work conditions go beyond the everyday: hazard pay. Not all jobs carry the same level of risk. Some roles require employees to step into environments that are physically demanding, potentially dangerous, or even psychologically taxing. When that happens, organizations have an opportunity and a responsibility to recognize that added risk. Hazard pay is one way to do exactly that. It acknowledges that when employees take on more challenging or dangerous work, their compensation should reflect it. At its core, hazard pay is additional compensation provided to employees who are working in high-risk conditions. This could include handling hazardous materials, working in extreme environments, or operating in situations where there is a greater likelihood of harm or uncertainty. What makes hazard pay important is that it recognizes something fundamental. Not all work environments are equal, and when the level of risk increases, compensation should be adjusted to reflect that reality. There isn't just one way to structure hazard pay. In many cases, it's added as an increased hourly rate, often calculated as a percentage above the employee's base pay. In other situations, especially for short-term or project-based work, organizations may offer a lump sum payment once the assignment is complete. The approach may vary, but the purpose stays consistent, recognizing both the difficulty and the risk associated with the work being performed. Here's where things get especially important for HR. Hazard pay is not required under the Fair Labor Standards Act, and there is no universal legal definition of what qualifies as a hazardous condition. That means organizations have flexibility, but also responsibility. Without a standardized definition, it becomes critical to clearly define what hazardous means within your organization and to apply those standards consistently. This is where thoughtful policy design and clear communication make all the difference. Hazardous work can show up in many different ways. It might involve extreme temperatures, physically demanding environments, or exposure to dangerous equipment or materials. It can also include healthcare or emergency response settings, where the risk may not always be visible, but is very real. Industries like construction, agriculture, aviation, and commercial fishing are often associated with hazard pay because of the inherent risks involved in those roles. From an HR perspective, hazard pay is about more than compensation. It's about trust, recognition, and responsibility. When employees are asked to take on additional risk, how the organization responds matters. Providing hazard pay sends a clear message. We see the challenge, we value your contribution, and we're willing to support you in meaningful ways. As an HR professional, you may help define what qualifies as hazardous work and ensure those decisions are applied fairly and consistently. When done well, hazard pay doesn't just compensate risk. It reinforces a culture where employees feel respected, supported, and valued, even in the most challenging conditions.